Coming to you from somewhere along the Ohio-West Virginia border, welcome to Nostalgia Highway, the movies you know from the guys you don't. We thank you so much for hitching a ride along with us today. I am your host, the Mayor, Matt Logston, and with me as always are my two esteemed co-hosts.
I am the Lord Ketchum.
And I'm Dave, King of the Road. Tonight, we're going to review the Amityville Horror from 1979.
It's the kind of house they don't build anymore. A relic of a time when the world wasn't in such a hurry. When there was still time for a little charm and elegance. It has stood empty for a long while. And at the price, it is a bargain. For a growing young family, it is almost too good to be true.
What do you think?
I love it.
James Brolin, Margot Kidder, Rod Steiger in the Amityville Horror.
God's peace in this house.
Hello?
Hello, Kathy. Father Delaney, there's something very important.
Mommy, I want to go home.
What do you want from us?
What's all going wrong? We have to do something.
I'm coming apart! Oh, Mother of God, I'm coming apart!
28 days after the Lutz family moved into their dream house. They were running for their lives. What happened to them is an experience in terror you will never forget. And you will believe in the Amityville Horror. From the best-selling book that made millions believe in the unbelievable, the Amityville Horror.
It was August 17th, 1979, when little baby King of the Road first experienced what would become a personal favorite of mine, and clearly the most nostalgic film I could possibly ever claim. As I didn't witness it upon first viewing with my eyes, but I listened from within the womb, the night before I was born, at the famed and still in use, 40 years later, Smoot Theater of Parkersburg, West Virginia. I don't remember a lot of specifics about this first viewing, guys, but two words stuck out with me that night, and I felt obligated to follow these instructions. Get out. Released July 27, 1979, based on the famed novelization Accounts of the True Events of George and Kathy Lutz by author Jay Anson, the Amityville Horror starts by recapping the tragic murders of the DeFeo family at 112 Ocean Avenue, Amityville, Long Island, New York, on November 13, 1974, by the eldest son, Ronnie. Approximately 1 year later, in December 1975, the Lutzes move in, and the events of these next 28 days send them running for their very lives, leaving all their belongings behind. Except Harry, but we'll talk more about Harry later on.
I just have to point out, first of all, I love that open. I like how you put a personal stamp on that. But I have to recall who was that? Someone's open to a certain movie way back in the early days of NHP. Oh, it was Bubba Hotep.
Yeah, but the king here just did about...
No, there's no yeah but.
No, there is a big but. There is a big but here. Because if you go back and listen
Show
to
me your butt.
Bubba Hotep, the whole movie was explained in 3 minutes, whereas Dave, the king of the road, has not explained the whole movie.
He pretty much did.
Nah, yeah. He opened it up. But yeah, anyway. So,
right.
The Lutzes... They should have got a 30-day money-back guarantee on this.
Hey, they were
venture.
warned.
Well, not really.
No,
Well, yeah, I mean,
they were aware.
They knew what.
They were aware.
Yeah, come on. I guess they weren't warned of the.
There's a paycheck
extraterrestrial
waved in their face here
supernatural
soon,
thing.
though.
Huh?
There's a paycheck being waved in their face here
sure.
real soon, though.
Sure.
I love the title sequence that we get with Lalo Schifrin's score going with the blood red backdrop of the Amityville house. It's really creepy. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
This score is amazing. I'm gonna
yeah.
tell you right now, this is top notch, and it's no wonder that it wasn't that it was actually nominated for an Oscar.
I think I'm a sucker for like children chorus, singing and stuff.
Yeah,
like
it's Children of the Corn.
and
It's
stuff.
very similar to that.
Even Pet Sematary.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I was to pick the most notable thing that it's similar to, it's definitely Children of the Corn.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for those kind of soundtracks and stuff. So scores.
Oh, this is one I hum in the dark tunnels when I take my kids out to Eaton's Tunnel or somewhere for a
that's
ghost
great.
walk.
That's awesome.
This is one of those things I'm walking along humming that theme, and
Nice.
and they know what it's from. I've shown it to them enough times.
So the Dutch gambrel roof design that we get with the house, they have these.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
It's not
You
a
didn't
barn
know
roof.
that?
Okay.
It is
didn't know that?
barn roof.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, layman's terms, this is Sam Hain versus Samhain here.
Okay, well,
it's
Sam
a barn
Hain
roof.
all the way.
Okay. Barn roof then, all the way.
Anyways, and it has the two quarter oval windows at the top.
Quarter oval windows, is that what they call those now?
That's what I'm calling them.
I just called them the eye windows.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're eye windows.
Well, and
see,
obvious-
we're the more simpler folk.
Yeah.
He's a city folk. We're
We're translating for West Virginians here that might be listening
Yeah.
on the highway.
the
a
house
lion.
with the eyes on it with the red backdrop. Scary.
Sorry. Indeed.
Samhain lives there.
Someone lives there, not Samhain.
Oh wait, you
Sam
mean Sam
Hain?
Hain? Oh yeah, I know Mr. Hain.
Sam Hain lives there.
Oh man, but yeah, those windows. I mean, they just always ever since I was a kid. I mean, they just felt like these evil eyes just peering into my soul, and I can never look at another house that looks like this or it's similar to and not think Amityville Horror.
Oh, yeah.
And on my fall vacation trip we took to Massachusetts, I saw plenty of them. I'm like, Amityville Horror, Amityville Horror, Amityville Horror, Amityville
Really?
Horror. Well, it's Dutch. It's Dutch.
That's it, Dutch.
Right, yeah, but we're just going to call it a barn roof.
Yeah, well, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's that too.
I mean, you can find a house similar to this in every town, and I'm sure everybody has looked at one and seen like, oh man, that looks like Amityville.
Right.
It's distinct. It stands out.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, like I said, I mean, you cannot see a house and not think that. It's one of those things that's like it's just out there in the atmosphere. Everybody's aware of it. Even if you've never seen it, you just know, oh, that's the Amityville house. Or, you see a hockey mask, you're like, oh, it's Jason Voorhees. Or you see Freddy's glove. I mean, even if you've never seen the movies, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You just know.
See an image of Andre the Giant, it's Andre the Giant.
And he's a wrestler.
Yeah.
And when he farts, it's a lot.
Especially on Jake the Snake Roberts, because that's
Didn't he drink
that's a deep cut.
like 200 beers or some shit one
Yeah.
night?
He
Something
drank
that.
like 8 gallons
That's
of beer.
That's 8 gallons.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And him
That's not
holding a
that
beer
bad.
is like me holding a shot glass.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think about the murder scene we're witness to, and how effectively do you feel it's shot? Pardon the pun.
Well, I mean, it did the job for me, especially when I was a kid. I first watched this when I was 12. So, I mean, it was alright.
Yeah, well, that score helped a lot.
Oh,
didn't it?
absolutely. Well, I mean, I like
String across the cello.
I like the wide shot out, from the house and the gunfire going off, and you see it, happening. Especially when he makes his way up top, to shoot the little girls, or the kids upstairs and shit. Yeah, it looked fucking awesome, dude. It was killer.
Yeah.
I mean, now when. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is pretty cool.
It's super creepy to me.
Yeah.
Like seeing just the shots that they show us. Like, they're not showing too much. It's one of those it's like less is more. It's like we discussed on Halloween 1. What you don't see is what lets you imagine. And when you imagine, it's way better than what you see.
Right. Yeah, if he like walked up. I like that they didn't show his face or anything like that. And that's to add to the mystery of, near the end of the movie and shit and everything. But, if he would have just walked up to, like, the kid, just stuck the gun right in her face and something and blew it off and you got the whole shot of it, I don't know if that would have been really effective, especially for 1979. This was already, pushing shit anyway, on film. Because, children are getting murdered immediately,
Right.
So
I just mean as far as the effectiveness of what they show. I mean, with that shrill, violin stinger that we get every time he pulls his gun up to shoot. It's just, man, it's really,
well shot.
Yeah, it gets me.
It sets a precedent. It really does. And I'll tell you, the fact that we do see children in these real quick glimpses, we see children getting shot. I mean, it's like, oh, okay, we're going here.
Yeah.
It's edgy.
It's ballsy. It's a ballsy approach. Even though we get those flashes of the scenes of what actually happens, where we get, we're shooting children at this point. Mm-hmm. I think where we see just the outside shot of the house with the windows and we see the flashes in the windows, I think that is more effective for me, personally, than actually seeing those brief glimpses of what's happening in the bedrooms when everybody's asleep.
Right on.
Plus, because you've already seen what is happening.
It's a good mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
No, I do like that. I like that a lot. So this makes me ask, so even though the DeFeo name was not even uttered in this movie, even though this whole, this is integral to the whole plot of this movie, do you guys believe in the real life actual murders? Because these murders actually took place in this home. I think it was, November 13th, 1974, and it was done by Ronald DeFeo, and he ended up killing his mother, his father, and 3 or 4 of his siblings. I can't remember how many which, but do you believe that he was possessed by a demon?
Yes.
Or do you just...
Three.
He was just, I don't know, just a crazy person?
Yes.
You believe he was possessed, Kane?
No.
Okay.
100% no. He admits to that in his jailhouse confessions.
He admits to a lot of stuff. His
Sure he
story's
does.
changed
Yeah, this
over
guy's
years.
not
Reliable.
got a full pack of French fries. Okay?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely no dipping sauce. But yeah. But still, I don't know. I don't think it was the house. I think that was the paycheck that old Bill there offered him.
Well, talking here about what the DeFeo murders, like, I don't think that he was possessed. I mean, the things that I've, I don't want to say I researched, but I've learned about, this guy was big into drugs, and he liked dropping LSD a lot. And, I don't know, this kind of falls in line, with when you talk about demon talk or being possessed and weird, demeanor and actions and behaviors happening. And obviously this is extreme at this point, and this is an awful thing that happened.
Literally everybody I've ever known that talks about demon possession in their life is a drug addict.
Oh,
Really?
No, I've literally never talked to
I was
them.
going to say,
I have
know
not
people for real?
I was saying, I don't know anybody
That's
that's
awesome.
ever said that.
But I'm
possessed.
guessing. What I'm saying by I literally know this is I'm guessing.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I understand.
that's-
Okay.
Truly what I meant there. Sorry.
Okay. What about you, Lord? I mean, do you think he was possessed, or you just think he just had a break with reality and just did some bad shit?
Yeah, he might add like a touch of schizophrenia or something like that. He's not stable at all.
He just messed up his brain on drugs.
All right. So
Right. That's kind of what I think.
Drugs are bad, kids.
Right. Now, I do, just so I know we kind of touched on the real part of this, not so much the movie, but I do want to kind of hold off the discussion on our personal thoughts on the Lutz's haunting, if you will. I want to wait to talk about that until after we talk about the movie. If that's okay.
Yeah.
Is that cool with you, King?
Yeah, man, that's cool. But hey, James Tolkien, the coroner in this movie. You know who I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
He's fucking
Mr. Strickland.
Mr. Strickland. Yeah. From Back to the Future.
Dude,
and his overcoat and his little hat.
It's a little
Was
Loomis,
he wearing a
huh?
hat? Yeah, he's Loomis. No, he's
He's
not
a
wearing a
little
hat. The other
Loomis.
guy's wearing a hat.
He's clean shaven.
Oh, dude. He could totally be my Loomis any day before Malcolm McDowell. I just want to put that out
I
there.
hear you.
Oh my god!
I hear
Really?
you.
Oh, yeah. That's my Loomis right there, other than Don
Michael,
Pleasance.
you're a slacker.
Yeah, that's clearly, dude. You nailed it. I mean, that is my number
yes.
2 Loomis there could possibly ever be.
Wow.
He's 88 now, still alive. Making sure everybody knows.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff. He was in Top Gun. He was in Dick Tracy. He was in the
He-Man, Master.
Masters of the Universe. He was
talk
actually
about that.
more recently. He was in Bone Tomahawk. Have you guys seen
Yes.
that?
I have not, but
Yes.
I'm going to watch it.
I watched it on your
it's
referral.
it is a bit part, but that movie, incredible.
Yeah.
Hitchhikers, if you have not seen Bone Tomahawk, you need to get on that shit right now and in a hurry.
Oh yeah.
That is an amazing
Kurt
film.
Russell. I mean,
Yeah.
That's all. Need I say more?
Patrick Wilson. I mean, it's a great cast. Richard Jenkins. It's awesome. Yeah. Get on this movie if you haven't seen it. But anyways,
Well, Kurt Russell, speaking of sexy older men, for you listeners who are into that.
literally nobody said sexy.
Okay,
until
but
you said it.
we're going to talk about James Brolin real quick, all right?
Okay.
Because evidently my wife thinks, I should look like James Brolin in her dreams. But
Oh wow.
yeah, like he's a hottie
impossible.
for her. No, that's all right. I don't know. It must be the perm and the beard. I don't know. And I guess looks probably better than I do in a pair of tidy whities. Or saggy baggies, really, because he's kind of wearing them a little loose. I don't know
It's
if you
the
guys caught that.
70s, man.
Yeah, but he wears them a little loose, and that's cool. But, that perm and that beard,
I will say,
tight.
James Brolin does have a magnificent beard, by the way. I mean, he really does. It's the type of beard you want to grow.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's proper. Yeah. I hear
Grizzly
ya.
Adams was jealous of that beard.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, we're introduced to the Lutz family, and George is played by James Brolin. He was in Westworld, the movie.
Good one.
He was in The Car, the long-running
Not a good one.
the long-running TV show Hotel from the 80s, and he's also Josh Brolin's dad. And we get Kathy, who's played by Margot Kidder. We just discussed her in episode 24 during the Rob Zombie Halloween 2.
Margaret Kidder.
Margot.
Yeah, I've never heard of her.
But she was Laurie's therapist, and she's hashtag my Lois Lane from the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. And she was in the original Black Christmas and Sisters. And we're also introduced to the 3 children who are now the proud new owners of this super discounted murder house.
And their names don't match their real names, and that's
Right. Well,
fine.
we're told that because we're going to change to protect the innocent and stuff, right?
Yeah. Because technology hadn't come out yet.
Yep.
Friends.
Yep.
People couldn't just Google it.
They didn't have the Googles.
But hey, back to Margot Kidder as Kathy Lutz.
Yeah.
Man, if she wanted to practice some ballet in front of her mirror with her top undone, I'd be like, by all means, proceed.
Absolutely. When I first watched this movie, I was like, okay.
Got one stocking off, and it's like,
good.
oh,
This is
yeah.
good.
That's not
We're progressing.
bad.
That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so viewers know, I'm way more attracted to her than James Brolin in this.
She's a cutie.
That's good.
And I did.
Well, I'd hope
I
so.
put him over pretty good just a minute ago. But no, Kathy.
God damn, James.
But did you all know that James Brolin, he was off screen, he became friendly with the real life George Lutz, but he was really
Wow.
doubtful of his story with his family, what happened. And I guess Margot Kidder, she didn't believe the story either. And supposedly she had went on record saying that she hated this movie.
Oh, I never heard that.
Yeah, supposedly.
Okay.
That's what I came up with.
I don't know why she'd hate this movie.
Matt was on CNN for this news, I think.
Fake news.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I'm not saying that CNN's fake news. The other one is too now, from what I understand.
They're all fucking.
We're not getting into all that.
Anyway, we went.
Anywho, but
But no, I saw an interview with, I know it was at least Brolin with the Lutzes on some, talk show.
Like back in the day?
Yeah,
like,
some obscure talk show host. Like maybe it was like a morning news channel guy almost in a sofa. I mean, it was pretty.
Like Ron Burgundy?
It was put together pretty poorly, Ron Burgundy or like Between Two Ferns type setup. I mean, it wasn't done real high budget, but there's an interview, and you can watch it on YouTube.
Really?
And
that's interesting.
Brolin, he kind of goes along with everything, but I don't remember.
Is that like a publicity stunt?
Yeah, it was a publicity thing. I don't know if Margaret Kidder was there or not. I don't think she was. I feel like it was just Brolin. Interesting, though. Check it out, YouTube. Ubers.
But Harrison Ford, James Caan, Burt Reynolds, and Christopher Reeve were all considered for the role of George Lutz in this. And there's an interesting thing with this. James Brolin, he auditioned for the role of Clark Kent, Superman, and lost to Christopher Reeve. And Christopher Reeve lost out to Brolin in this one. Interesting.
None of us lost out in those decisions. Period.
I agree with that. I can't disagree there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It all worked out for
Harrison
us.
Ford would have been a good one.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why he was considered was because of the success from, doing the Star Wars movies that was unexpected, and he was a hot ticket item at that moment. So
Right.
I think James Caan would have been an interesting take.
I like what we got.
Yeah, I don't know if...
No,
I don't think I'd like James Caan, actually.
Really?
Nah, I don't know. Not for this role.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm
What about
happy
Burt
with what we
Reynolds?
got.
Burt Reynolds...
That'd be the number 2 guy. That'd be
Really?
close second.
Out of all that list, I don't know. I'd say Harrison Ford would be a 2 on that.
Put him 3.
Right on. Okay. Right. There you go.
That's-
But yeah, James
That's where we
Brolin
are.
did a fantastic job.
Sure, yeah. On board.
His beard did.
You don't like his acting other than that?
I'm not going to say that,
Wow.
but I'm not going to say like he set the world on fire.
No,
You
but he
hinted
did
that.
he did a fine job, dude.
No, he didn't reinvent the wheel, but I mean he did. Yeah.
He made it look better than Ryan Reynolds.
He didn't mail it in. Ooh, we'll get to that shit
No, we
later.
won't. We'll get to it right now.
Oh, okay.
I brought it up. Ryan Reynolds, better fucking George Lutz, in your opinion, Mayor?
Yes.
I seen that's where you were going. Well, you're wrong.
Okay.
He might have a better
I have-
chest, but his
I have
palm
to
is
agree.
nowhere near as close. And
Well, you don't have to have a perm.
dude. And here's
Play
the
this
thing.
role.
Now you do have to have an everyday man bod, okay? And George Lutz had an everyday man bod, and Ryan Reynolds is that. Oh, that's the Hollywood version. It's the Ken doll version. Oh, fuck the Ken doll version.
I'm going to side with the Kane on this.
Thank you.
I agree 100%.
But I still think Ryan Reynolds was a more convincing George Lutz. I mean, seriously. I mean,
In what way?
we'll get there.
No, I'm asking right
No,
now. I'm asking right now.
We'll get there because we're not gonna bust that cherry at this moment.
My God, I'm
we
trying
have
to.
I know you are.
All right.
But
Let's
then
get to
I've stated my case.
I noted. I really don't care for the cutaways to the murders that we get while George and Kathy, they're being led around the house by the realtor.
You don't?
No, I don't.
You're wrong.
I like it, to be honest, because, it establishes right here. Boom. Kid was right there.
No, I like
Dad
that.
right here. Boom.
No, I do like that. I enjoy the dynamic of seeing your dream home unfold before your eyes, and then you see that this awful thing happened, where you're fantasizing about like, oh, I can do this and this with this room and
Right.
blah blah blah.
You're like,
no, I get that, but it's edited weird. I think you get a weird freeze frame as they're coming up the steps. It makes you think there's something wrong with the movie for a moment. The cutaways, I think they're really loud and they're kind of a rough cut insert.
It's
All those are happy accidents to me. That's like stuff that makes me uncomfortable and makes me like, what's wrong here? And like it adds to it for me. Absolutely, 100%. It adds for me. Where you're saying it,
Interesting.
It negates
Because it takes me out of it. Because it makes me not focus on what I'm seeing and what I'm being presented. It makes me think there's like I don't know, when there's weird editing or, like that freeze frame I talked about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I know.
Freeze frames need to be used in the right, timely fashion. Like Sleepaway Camp has free frame, a good freeze frame. There's a lot of different movies that have freeze frames in the middle of film. It's just you got to do it at the right moment. I think what the mayor's talking about is the freeze frame when they're going up the steps.
I know exactly what he's talking about.
Okay, so it is a little bit. I don't know if they timed it right. I'm not sure if it was just an editing problem, if it was just a happy accident either. It could have been done for real because some movies were doing that shit at that time. It was the 70s.
The pause frame.
Yeah, the pause frame shit. Add suspense to the.
What you're saying, I think, is they held it just a hair too long.
Yeah.
I think if anything, that hair too long makes me notice it more. Like you're saying, it's noticeable. It stands out. But for me, in a positive way,
for me, it's a negative.
It makes me stop and think. And
it's interesting.
I don't know. It's that less is more thing.
To me, it takes me out of the mood. So obviously, for me, I have to take pretty deep cuts at times, and I feel like on this movie in particular with you, King, I got to take a pretty deep cut, and I got to ask you, do you know who the realtor is during this scene?
Oh, shit. I do not.
I love the look you just gave me. It was the look of nothing.
Mrs. Townsend, you mean?
The realtor. Realtor.
Yeah, Miss Townsend.
Okay.
Yeah, you know who she is?
As far as her actress?
Been, no? Okay.
Like The Electric Grandmother or something? I mean...
Oh, man, I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
She's not... Dude, really? You just bring up The Electric Grandmother like this? Are you serious, dude?
We're not getting into that right now.
Man, that's some deep shit. You and me we need to have a discussion later.
Sure.
For real.
Classic.
Oh, it is a classic. Ray Bradbury.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. We're going to talk later, dude.
Wow.
Okay. That's a good one.
But the realtor was played by Elsa Raven, and she was Ida Strauss in James Cameron's Titanic in 1997. She was a nurse in the Kick the Can segment of the Twilight Zone, the movie.
Yes. Who was she?
She was one of the nurses.
Oh, okay.
From 83. And she was, and here is the one, she was the Save the Clock Tower lady.
Oh, are you
in
shitting
Back to the
me?
Future.
Oh, dude. You know what, King?
Oh,
you
my
known
God.
That. Now you should have known that.
I'm smacking my head.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Congratulations, Mayor.
You want to talk about achieving climax.
You just inserted the missing piece to my life's puzzle. You really did. Unreal.
Hitchhikers.
Who did you had no idea.
No
Anybody
idea.
Back to the
I
Future.
had no idea, but immediately when you say it, I realize it. And I'm like, oh
Yes.
my God, it is.
Yes!
Hitchhikers, did you guys know this? Let us know.
Wow.
The cane is astounded.
Down
goes the cane. Down goes the cane.
Just so we know, it's clear, all right? That was the one that I put all my eggs in the basket on.
You got me. Damn it, man.
Nice.
All right,
so the Lutzes, they move in, and they're visited by their local priest, who is Father Delaney, played by Rod Steiger, who is a 2-time nominee, 1-time Oscar winner.
For this?
No, not for this. For
okay.
In the Heat of the Night from
Yeah,
1968. And he ends up having a run-in with some flies out of season when he's trying to bless this house.
Very creepy when I was 12, man. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, what the hell? What's going on with this house? It seems like all biblical and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
It's odd. It's off-putting,
Yeah.
sure.
It's a view into the Catholic lifestyle. The old Father Delaney, in the book, it's a different name, but again, the book's trying to protect people
Okay.
that are in real life involved. But, man, this guy needs to find a new line of work before he goes blind. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
In the book, though, hold on. In the book, again, he doesn't suffer all these illnesses he gets from this situation.
Yeah, he's pretty stricken in this movie. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just boom, 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 one
you
after
watch
another.
him falling to his demise by the end almost.
Yeah, it's like a descent into madness almost before you actually see the madness.
In real life, this dude was like, guys, I'm out. In fact, the money I got last week during services, I'm going to
Keep
vacation. Actually, I'm taking a month off.
So in the book, did they use the people's real names in the book?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
recounted
Right on.
true story.
Okay.
Good question, though. But yeah, no, Father Delaney is his accounts are backed by later on statements. He does a interview where he wants to be hidden. They black out his face, and
Sure.
he talks about stuff that happened and the whole car hood flipping back on him. That supposedly happened. The Get Out voice.
I've heard there's some conflicting stories about that hood scene.
I have
That's a
had
weird
hood
scene.
come up on me.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Well, but I heard, from what I understand, the conflict is that tries to refute this story is that the vehicle that was being driven, the hood opened the opposite way, where the hinges were at the front.
Okay.
So it
wouldn't
couldn't have
it wouldn't have
happened. Right. I've heard that.
I have not.
I
heard
doubt that though. Highly, Mayor.
Yeah, I think that's
That's
a
a very
stretch.
rare hood assembly, and
Well,
it's not the common.
But at that time, it was common in the mid 70s. I can't remember. I want to say it was like a Ford. I don't want to say Pinto, but it was something along those lines. It's look it up.
Okay.
There's something to that where people they go to that as like, well, right here's a bunch of bullshit. If you want to talk about
The
things,
car in the book and the car in the movie are different too. I think. I mean,
okay.
yeah.
But yeah, I've had a hood come up on me.
Have you?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I had my hood unlatched though, because I was driving with a battery charger thing hooked up to my battery because it was dead and I needed to run it, and it just wasn't staying on. Anyway, it was dumb. I was like 17, and I was riding, and I was going down a hill, and it caught and boom, and the back end of my hood, the edges, they curled up and shit. The metal did and everything. Yeah, it was crazy. Cracked my windshield a little bit.
I've had my hood slide up into the windshield where I didn't have it bolted on correctly, and after I had done some work on it or whatever, I'd had the hood off and put it back on. And bolted
Scary,
up good, and
dude.
it slid and it did crack the corner of my windshield. And
It's scary. You're like, oh my
if
god.
it flipped
there
back
can't
on
see
me, that'd
anything.
freak me out.
No.
I've never had any hood issues, but again, Lord, how the fuck are you alive?
I don't know, man. Just
The
another.
mayor doesn't even have to pop his head, so it probably wouldn't ever be loose.
I was riding with my buddy Steve.
Mayors pay someone else to pop their hood.
But they actually use honey. They put all over Rod Steiger's face to attract all the flies on his face there during that scene. One thing I found that was really interesting, there's a line later on between George and Kathy, and George is talking about accepting a collect call from Japan and waiting to get the bill to see how much it costs. That is absolutely humorous right now. I even chuckled when I was doing this rewatch because I'm going to tell you right now,
How times have changed.
you youngins, you don't know nothing about that. So go ask your parents or your grandparents and you talk to them about collect calls and you come back to us. All right?
Especially to China.
Because that was some legit shit. That was a big no-no. I mean,
Call collect.
you didn't do it.
You have a collect call. Dude, I remember. Because if you didn't have money at a payphone, you could collect call, but somebody else have to accept the charges.
Right.
So, you would be like, you have a collect call from, and you'd have to squeeze in your name or a whole message, like a whole sentence.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, I'm here at practice. Pick me up.
Yep. Hey, Mom, I'm done. Hurry up. Or something like that,
Yes.
And then they know to come and get you, and you could call for free on a payphone.
What we used to do when I was a kid, there was a payphone near my house. Me and a couple other bicyclists of the same age generation, who I don't remember their names because we just met up at this phone booth once in a while. We would call 1-800-9-France. I don't know if that number's still active or not. He called that number up on a payphone and talked to some French dude, and we were young teenagers, and it was like the cool thing for us to like cuss them out. And every now and then they'd come back with some kind of like whispering French, like "Oh, yo, motherfucker, you know." I totally did a terrible French, but
You would just cuss them out and everything?
yeah, and they would,
American or French?
Yeah, in American, because I don't know
Okay.
any French.
Well, I don't
At
know.
13, 14 years old, you know?
You don't know any French now?
No, but I still don't, yeah. But here we are. Yeah, that was my payphone fun.
Hell yeah.
As a juvenile
Right on.
delinquent.
Daughter Amy, she begins her friendship with her new imaginary friend Jody. We'll get a little more on that later. But did you catch the doll that she had in her room?
Yeah, well, I mean, I couldn't place it. I mean, it looks like like a Raggedy Ann
Yep.
doll.
I wanted to say Raggedy Ann, but
That's exact-
It's
that
miscolored
is-
or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
Right,
dyed.
it
yellow.
seems
It's got a
darker.
yellow.
Yeah, it was.
It's like dyed or something. I don't know how they did it or why they did it. I guess it's just to separate, make it not a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
maybe, but yeah, and it's interesting. But
Is that Janet? Because later on, she refers to one of her dolls as Janet.
I don't know if that's the name actually.
We'll get to that.
But anyway,
just Jody.
no, Jody was.
Yeah, I'm talking about one of her dolls. She calls one of her
Rose.
dolls Janet.
Oh,
entity.
okay.
She says, Janet, are you listening? Now don't be a
Oh,
smart
smartass,
ass.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Actually, I think you're right then, Dave. Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, I was just making comment because, like, she had a Raggedy Ann looking doll, and the Warrens famously, did
Right.
the Amityville, and they also did the Annabelle, and the Annabelle, the real doll
Yeah.
is a Raggedy Ann doll. So, yeah, I don't know if that was an intentional thing or
Probably.
not,
Probably.
but yeah, there's that.
And since you mentioned it, yeah, I appreciate that, and I think I'll enjoy that on reviewing now. I'll be like,
Nice.
oh yeah, that's a Easter egg to the Annabelle.
Did I just come up with another thing?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm hot tonight.
That was an easy one. That's all.
The King
I'll-
has a drawing
I'll say
too
that was
on
a-
his King art page of the Amityville with
Yeah, it's
the
nice.
with the
It's
Annabelle doll in it,
it's subtle.
Jody and the ghost,
Yeah, it's
and
nice.
the Warrens. Yeah.
But George, he is almost immediately affected by the house. He's not hungry. He's perpetually cold. He chops wood like he's a fucking lumberjack. He always wakes up at 3:15 a.m. And he kind of turns into a dick. And I'll be honest with you, to me, he just kind of sounds like he's a dad.
Yeah, but dude, I used to chop wood. That's what we used to have for heat. I swear to God, for a little while when I was growing up, was just wood heat. So the winter sucks. And to prepare for that, you chopped wood in the summertime and shit. And I was pissy afterwards. I hated chopping wood.
Well, on the heels of this, let me ask this: who's the better lumberjack, James Brolin or Ryan Reynolds?
Does it matter?
These are
Absolutely
crazy
matters.
questions, man.
Why does it matter?
Because clearly James Brolin is a much better lumberjack than Ryan Reynolds. You see the way he tosses that axe right into the tree?
Yeah, that's weird.
Solid.
I mean, it's cool, but it's
Fucking
kind
nailed it. Ryan Reynolds do that?
No.
You're damn right he didn't. Why? Because he's not a better lumberjack.
I think you're going to lose this battle, Mayor.
All right.
I didn't come here to lose.
I win. That's what I do.
Obviously, I brought a knife to a
Yeah.
gunfight here. But George's progression with his, his demeanor and just how he feels and acts, it gets progressively worse with each passing day and night. And apparently, if you're a servant of God, you can't hang out in this house, clearly, with
Hell no.
Father Delaney.
Heaven no, I mean.
And then, heavens no! And then Kathy's aunt, who is a nun, she visits and becomes ill, and she immediately leaves.
Blows chunks.
Yes, she does.
I think it's, whatever is possessing the house and, utilizing the house there.
It's just that
it's
damn
It's
evil.
like, hey, I can tell.
I ain't having none of
Yeah.
this.
Before we get too
He's
far,
like a virus.
It likes to play with its victims, except for people of the church. get that shit out of there.
Get out.
Because that's a harm, to him.
Before we get too far, we need to cue up those that audio of blowing chunks from the nun.
Okay. We'll squeeze it in.
Because that's pretty, memorable. She really gives it her all. They're paying $100 for this roll, and she's taking every penny of it and putting it to good use.
But Father Delaney, he's under the weather himself, and he becomes under the care of a fellow priest who is Father Bolin, who's played by Don Stroud. He was in the Buddy Holly story with Gary Busey. He was in Sweet 16. He was pretty much a racist dick in that movie. He was in countless TV appearances from the 60s all the way into the 2000s. And most recently as Sheriff Bill Sharp in Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained.
Right on.
I love that scene, by the way.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's an awesome scene. Because you get Tom Wopat also.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. But they end up having some car trouble that we already kind of talked about as they're trying to warn the Lutzes, and they're getting ready for Kathy's brother, his wedding. And we end up getting a whole fiasco with some missing money and...
Ghosts like to play tricks, man.
Guy don't take no checks. He wants cash only, and George don't play no shit.
Hey, while all that matter, he's looking like death.
Oh yeah.
I always thought this whole scene with them trying to find the money for the caterer is
silly.
Silly, yeah, and it's out of place, and
yeah,
and in reality, it's not in the recount of Jay Anson's novel anyway.
Right on.
It's not part of that. This was just put in for the movie. And I don't know, it fills the gap, but it fills the gap more for the closet scene with the babysitter. We get a really cool thing out of this, which wouldn't make sense to me because I'm a parent of multiple children, and if I got a babysitter for one of them, and they're going to stay there the entire time I need them to be gone for one of them, they're going to watch all of them.
Right.
Because I don't get away enough with my old lady. And we're not going to take 2 kids with us to this wedding. No, if we got a babysitter coming to the house to stay for this amount of time,
you taking them all. I'm
chipping in that extra $20, boys. You're gonna watch them all.
Here's an extra Jackson for your troubles.
Guess what? Here's a login to our Netflix and everything. If you want to take it with you afterwards, just don't overdo it.
This is 79, though.
Yeah, no,
I didn't have that.
I'm aware of that. I'm just talking out loud in modern day times. But yeah,
no, I hear you. And I did think that was weird because it was just Amy. It wasn't the 2 boys. And the babysitter, her brace-faced headgear is awesome.
Yes, it is.
Hey,
Thank you.
Here's the thing. When I was a kid...
When I was a youngin'.
I swear to God. I found it kind of cute. I like the
Oh,
braces,
man.
I was a big dork, man. I like chicks with braces.
I could see Carrie being
Shit
hot.
turned me
And
on.
this is basically Carrie with, a weird brace gimmick on.
I never thought of it that way.
But
Yeah, I hear you. That's interesting.
Yeah.
it's kind of, I'm not attracted to her at all, but as a kid
right,
watching this.
of course.
She's very bitchy.
Yeah.
She's not
And as a
Laurie
kid,
Strode
No,
babysitter.
no.
I feel sorry for her, though. I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. What's happening to her? And
George clearly shown that, it doesn't lock. You just need to open the door. I'm just saying.
Dude, she was in there for a long time. Dude,
yeah.
screaming for Amy, Open the damn door.
which part of this house is possessed are you missing at this point, Mayor?
I'm just trying to poke holes, man. That's all I'm trying to
Those
do.
are flimsy holes.
All right.
This house is fucking possessed, okay?
Roger
Period.
that.
It's awesome. I enjoyed it,
And,
man.
and I don't know, I love this scene. It is disturbing and it's uncomfortable. Her being in that closet and the light going out, and again, you got this violin stinger, music.
Well, with the kid just sitting out there, not responding to her at
Right.
all, and that's got to be freaky out. If you're the babysitter, man.
Yeah, kids a
Intense
dick.
shit.
Yeah. Question: which babysitter was better, this one or the remake?
Well,
We'll talk about that later.
That's a fair question, and there's a pretty good answer for both. All right, you got me a little bit. I appreciate the babysitter in the remake much better. Okay.
For the obvious reasons,
For
right?
the obvious reason. This is the babysitter I want. All right.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be babysat, that's the
I
one.
wanted to be babysat
Bring
by her.
If you're asking me that question, yes.
I mean, hell, I want to
Absolutely.
be babysat by her now. I mean, oh, shit. Okay, I had to ask that. I mean, all right.
Fair enough.
So the higher-ups at the diocese, they clearly don't believe anything Father Delaney or Father Bolin is trying to sell them about the Lutz's house and the danger they're in. One of the higher-ups is Father Ryan, as played by Murray Hamilton, who was Mayor Vaughn on Jaws and Jaws 2. And I will say, Rod Steiger gives a pretty passionate testimony during this scene, and so does Murray Hamilton. I like this. I like this scene in this movie.
I think it's much better than the other guys, but he's kind of a dickhead, you know. I don't really appreciate that, especially it being a church member. It needs to be a little more supportive. But I guess at that time,
He's
they're
very
trying
shut off.
to, cover up a lot of the, exorcism kind of shit. The church protected, a lot of shit.
Yeah.
George wakes up at, you guessed it, 3:15 to have his own encounter with some flies and ends up getting the front door blown off the hinges by an unseen force, which then prompts a call to the police. And the detective from the original murders with the DeFeos, which was Sergeant Gianfrido.
Old mustache, I call him.
Yeah, old mustache. It was played by Val Avery. He promises a watch detail to the house.
They don't do a good job.
Not really. He just saw us a whole bunch of just sitting around watching and just drinking coffee.
Smoking cigars.
Smoking cigars, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what he
It
does.
reminded me of Haddonfield.
Yeah.
Police force.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah, we're here, but we're not really doing shit. But Kathy learns more troubling things about Jody from Amy. She then tries to reach out to Father Delaney, but the phone turns to static again. George, he ends up going off to do some research of his own and meets up with his business partner Jeff, played by Michael Sachs, at the bar. And we kind of start to figure out that George is a bit of a doppelganger of sorts to the Ronald DeFeo character that is not mentioned by name. And
Spot on.
yeah, well, I have more on that, but given what was Gianfrido, he says about, are you related to when he goes in the house and after the door's blown off, like, are you related to anybody that was lived here before? And then the bartender makes the comment saying, like, you just look like that guy that was, you were sitting right there when he was arrested.
Yeah.
So you kind of, you get these little clues. The eyes that Kathy ends up seeing in the window from Amy's room, that's weak.
This is 1979.
It is.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We have Halloween from 1978, and there is stuff that's far more, like, the way it's presented and shown, it's more frightening what this is. I mean, it kind of looks like the reflection of, like, a possum or something that's just there with the eyes being reflected off, and it kind of looks away, and it doesn't do anything for
Were
me.
you an adult the first time you seen this?
When I first watched this movie, I was 12. And shit, I've said it before, but it was effective for me then. And I watched this movie probably all the way up through until I was about 25. To be honest, I haven't seen this movie in about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
But I used to watch it all the time and shit back in the day. When I did the rewatch for this, I was worried about it not standing up to the test of time and shit. But I don't know. It was still pretty effective for me, I mean, I knew it was coming, but it's I don't know. I like it because it's less is more factor. Now, the Margot Kidder's reaction isn't very sell-worthy, I don't think. She didn't really sell the scare in this.
The scare
Jumps back,
wasn't...
covers her mouth, doesn't she?
The scare,
but it wasn't very good.
quote unquote, wasn't scary though. It just like, oh, we're seeing a reflection of some kind of animal eyes.
Have you seen red lights
Yeah,
blinking
but
in and
here's the
off
thing, though,
out
yeah.
your window? freak you out.
Here's the thing, man. If you know for a fact you've just been talking to your daughter, and like, oh, you scared Jody. Jody just jumped out the fucking window, and you know for a fact, you've seen Jody as supposed imaginary friend, and then you've seen that immediately, you'd freak the fuck out. I'm sorry, dude. You would freak out.
Fair enough. I mean, okay, but viewing this as a moviegoer, I don't know.
I get you.
It's kind of, it's flimsy to me. I get what you're saying.
It's 79 too.
If you're looking at this from a modern technology standpoint, sure, but man, this movie nostalgically for me, the way
pitch
I
dark and
saw it originally, and it, I hold on to that. Yeah, it's fine. It's like watching Star Wars.
Because to be honest,
I don't want to watch the special edition of Star Wars. I want to watch
right.
the original animatronic effects.
It was shot at night for a reason. If it had been shot during the day, you wouldn't get that same effect, dude. I know the eyes are kind of, I guess they're shitty, but I mean, it plays well. I like it.
I get it's clunky by today's standards, but by that standard, no way. That was fine.
Okay.
It doesn't stand out or stick out like a sore thumb or anything to me.
But with the help of Jeff's believer wife, Carolyn, which is played by Helen Shaver, we kind of learn a little bit more about the Lord's family history.
Yes. So, sit down, hitchhikers. Let me tell you a tale.
We learn about Jack Ketchum and how he
John Ketchum.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's my great
they call John Kennedy
granddaddy,
Jack
John
Kennedy,
Ketchum.
so yeah, no, that's okay.
He was a witch, so
Not really.
Yeah, he was a witch. It was run out of Salem, Massachusetts, which
Not
was
really.
interesting enough because I just came from there. And he ended up building the house,
which is called the Ketchum House.
Yeah.
So I think I'm
Over in
should
Sayville?
should be making some money.
Over in Sayville, is it Sayville? Sayville, Amityville's neighboring city.
I can't remember.
Saleville or Sayville? I think it's Sayville because they combined Salem Village and made it Sayville. It's the neighboring town to Amityville where he supposedly resided after he left Salem, but he was never convicted of being a witch. That was a legend, which is much like the Lutz's retelling of this story.
Well, from my family lineage, it's true.
It's spelled with an A.
I know it is. Okay, so it's spelled differently.
It's
Actually spelled with a U.
I'll say, I thought it was with a U.
I've seen both.
It's with a U.
Okay, well, this is... listen, guys, we're all speculating.
But I spelled
here.
my name with an E.
This is like
so.
Abraham in the Bible. It may have had an H in it. It may not have. Okay, we're going on someone else's story here.
But the couple, they end up taking a trip down to the basement where Carolyn, she kind of fills us in that there was a tribe of Indians that were called the Chinnococks, and they used the land where this house was to keep all the crazy people to die, more or less. And she commences to do some impromptu demo work, and she convinces George to do the same.
I'd been pissed off.
It'd be like, bitch, what the fuck you doing right now?
What the fuck?
And Jeff was kind of like, "Whoa, hey, what are you doing?" And she just keeps going.
I would have, I would have stopped that shit immediately.
Be like,
nope,
no, you put that down right now.
What the hell's going on?
This is not okay in my book, right? Yeah, but George, he ends up, he does the same, and he busts down the wall, and supposedly this reveals a supposed passage to hell with, in my opinion, it's a weirdly placed reflection of Donald DeFeo, which, do you
Ronald
know?
DeFeo?
Yeah, Ronald.
I think you said Donald.
He did say Donald.
Did I?
Yep.
I said, well, I apologize. It is Ronald, and I have that written down right
Making
here.
sure we fact check him on everything.
Yeah, well, you should. But do you know who was this, reflection, who that was?
It wasn't James Brolin.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't Josh Brolin.
Nope.
Was his brother?
It was his brother.
His brother.
And they
Is that
put
a
a
fact?
fake beard on him, yes.
You got me.
Yep.
You didn't know that either. Man, Kane.
3
disappointed
times.
me.
Hey, guys.
That's okay.
I got a lot more for you.
But Rod Steiger, he really did ham it up during the church scene where he's leading the prayer with Father Bolin and he ends up becoming blind. I mean, that's over the top.
Heck yeah, it is.
That is just hamming it up to the T.
Give them health of mind and body, that they may do your will with perfect love. We ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son. Give them strength of mind and body. Oh, Lord, I beg thee, give them strength in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son. Oh, Lord, oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I dig it. It's kind of cool to me. Because, he's supposedly seen this angel fall apart, and the angels doesn't have
It's intact.
eyes and everything,
Well,
but,
look, this is
Bolin
where-
sees it, he doesn't see anything,
This is where they spent their $4.7 million budget on shit like this instead of
Getting Harrison Ford.
well, that and
Well, Harrison
whatever.
Ford was probably a cheap get at that point.
Maybe.
I don't know, but they could have spent the money on. Well, they have a scene in the book where, and it's whatever the real account was by Kathy Lutz, that when she looked in the mirror, she saw herself as like an old woman in that one
Yeah.
scene
Yeah.
where James Brolin comes in and she's got like wax drippings
It
under
was
her
Yeah.
cheeks.
weird. I didn't
When he
understand.
went to
Forehead.
attack her and everything?
It's
Yeah,
later.
It's during that
This-
dream
okay.
sequence. It's during that dream sequence.
Okay.
No. It ends up with him raising the axe and
Yeah.
crushing her right in the center of her skull with it. But in the book they explain it better, that she's like looking at herself as like a old woman, like a 100-year-old looking woman, and in the movie they
That
didn't
would be
portray it
scary.
right. There's a few things they shortcutted. The marching band playing in the living room. They do have the drum beat playing one night at 3:15 when he goes downstairs and trips on the lion's head.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be like there was a marching band that completely rearranged the living room by playing their music and marching through there at night.
I mean,
Jesus.
Hollywood, they really did try to ramp up the hysteria of Satan and the devil in the 70s with the movies,
The
didn't
Exorcist,
they?
man.
Oh, yeah. And that was
Dude,
the
it
one
set
that,
the tone,
that
dude.
that was the sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Again
And-
in 2019 with the Addams Family animated edition, evidently.
oh, jeez. I saw that video. That was
Yeah.
ridiculous. That was honestly, that was laugh out loud worthy.
I watched that movie, and there's nothing.
Parents that are afraid to expose your
Yeah,
children
no
to
shit.
demonic possession in a movie, do not take your kids to the
The
Addams
Addams
Family.
No, bullshit. Go take your kids to see Addams Family.
I agree.
It's ridiculous.
I'm coming apart. Oh, Mother of God, I'm coming apart.
This scene makes me laugh. This is like a really old school approach to making movies. I mean, it's very dated. It's just kind of out of nowhere. There's really no context. It's kind of weird to me.
Well, I mean, the scene before it, Margot's having her dream, I think. Or
Yeah.
she had
Yeah,
freaked
yeah,
out,
this-
that night.
Yeah.
It I don't know, it just goes to play, how their psyches are breaking down, how the ghosts are attacking, each of them in different ways, Because James Brolin's getting the sickness and, the mind fuck. He's always got to have a fire going, he can't be
Cold as hell. in here.
cold,
Right.
It's where she's obviously, everybody else is comfortable, but she gets hallucinations and dreams of him killing her and the kids and shit.
Right.
So it's kind of weird. I like it though. I guess it does play out. For the times. It's kind of what you're talking about, Mayor. But
We get a cool cameo from Peter Maloney, who was Frank from The Children from 1980, which we reviewed back in episode 3. And
Don't go back and listen to that, viewers.
At
What,
your
The
own
Children?
risk. At your own risk.
Yeah.
it's a good episode.
If you run out of Nostalgia Highway podcasts to listen to, go ahead.
But he was also Bennings in John Carpenter's The Thing from 82, and he was the newspaper clerk that helps Kathy, that she ends up discovering that Ronnie DeFeo and George are lookalikes, more or less.
Yeah.
And we finally get to the last night where, of course, it's a dark and stormy one. George, he's battening down the hatches when he sees a pig with glowing eyes in the window.
See, I don't know if that's a pig or not. I mean, they say it is, but you can't tell what it is.
Yeah, right, and that's why I kind of say it like, because that's what I've understood. It's kind of, that's a pig?
That's what they say.
Yeah.
I don't buy it as a pig, though.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's different than what we see in the where you just see the red eyes glowing.
Yeah. You still can't make out what it is, though, fully.
Right.
Which is great, because it adds to the mystery of it all.
But blood starts pouring out of the walls and the steps.
Which looks fucking awesome.
It's cool.
It looks really good.
It doesn't look good when it's in high def, because you can tell where they, had the cuts in the wallpaper to where it was going to come out. But,
right.
Yeah, but, it's a great visual. George, he does his best pre-Jack Torrance with the kids when they're in the bathroom, and Kathy, she ends up stepping in, and this is the scene where she
looks old.
Looks like an old woman, I guess. And
Is that what she's supposed to look like an old woman?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's weird.
Her
because,
skin's just
but it
back
makes
and
George
drippy.
Stop.
Right.
And at this point, it's just the horrifying journey to get everyone out of the house, including Harry, the family dog. Even after they already took off, they were gone.
They were halfway down the road.
Yeah, they were done.
He forgot.
Okay.
Guys, I love my pets, but yeah,
it's a family dog, man.
Oh,
They're
man.
family members. You gotta go back and get a dog.
I would be suckered in if one of my kids was like, "Daddy, get here."
You gotta go get a dog.
Yeah,
You gotta
I
go get the
know.
dog.
Shit.
Harry's dead. I saw it. Sorry, kids. Moving on.
That's terrible, Mayor.
I
Terrible.
appreciate that point of view too.
I'm an advocate for pets, so
If it was a cat, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a cat. I'll give you that. Cats are a dime a dozen. Yeah. Dogs are fucking.
But of course, he's already driven off. So this gives us the dramatic run through the rainstorm back to the house by George, who ends up falling through the basement steps into a pit of black goo.
Which is awesome. It looks fucking cool as shit.
I think it looks weird. I don't understand it.
I knew you would.
It's like a tar pit.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in La Brea all of a sudden. But Harry the dog ends up attacking George at first, and then he ends up helping him out of the black goo pit.
Good dog.
Yeah, good dog.
Fair enough.
But then we get the dramatic run back to the van through the rainstorm, and George is carrying the dog for some reason. I don't understand why. The dog didn't lose
its ability to walk.
Right, yeah. But anyways, they speed away, and this is followed up with George and Kathleen Lutz and their family never reclaim their house or their personal belongings. Today, they live in another state. End of film.
Get the fuck out of Dodge, man.
Right.
It's,
What are your guys' thoughts on this ending? How it went? What do you got?
Chris Rock said it best. White people just, they don't leave their house when there's ghosts around and shit. Or Eddie Murphy said it. That's right. He said, he did in his stand-up, talking about poltergeist and shit. Why do white folks always stay in the house when there's a ghost in the house? If I'm walking through the house and they say, get out. Too bad we gotta stay. We can't stay, baby. We gotta get the fuck out. Just get the fuck out of your house.
And we learned a little bit of that in the Haunted House with Marlon Wayans, too. You ever seen Haunted House?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Similar premise.
Did you guys know that the studio, they intentionally, to create more publicity for the movie, they would make up these stories of quote-unquote weird occurrences that were happening on set that weren't really happening at all.
I believe that.
Yeah, they totally did that.
They kind of took, the old Exorcist approach. Exorcist, that shit really did happen, though, on set.
Yeah.
There are some sets that are cursed. I truly believe it.
Do you believe the Poltergeist set is cursed?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's the biggest one.
Over this one? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like if
I
there was
believe
ever
that
to be
one.
one to be cursed, it would have been Poltergeist.
Yeah, when you're
in my
using
opinion.
actual, skulls and stuff, human skulls,
Yeah, you're
and you're throwing actors and actresses in the water without their knowledge.
Yeah, you're opening up a door.
Yeah.
I think I hear you. But okay, so we kind of touched on this earlier, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask it now. All right, so we talked about the movie. Do you guys believe the real life story that the Lutzes are spinning right here?
Not to the full extent of it all. I'm sure some creepy shit did happen in the house though.
Okay.
But I'm obviously it is embellished.
Oh yeah,
To the extreme,
clearly.
Wildly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure some
So
kind
you
of
do-
oddities have happened in the house while they were there.
So you do believe there was the potential for some weird occurrences that did legitimately happen, but you
Yeah.
just felt
Well, I
like
mean,
they just way over
You got to
embellished.
think, man. The preacher. You got to take that into account. I mean, obviously he did not come back. Ever.
How much do they pay him?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean,
Priest-
Sure, there
it's
was
a
a donation
possibility.
made to the church.
I don't. Maybe. But yeah, every once in a while you get a good nugget fucking priest, who doesn't lie, is all about the truth and shit.
Yeah.
Maybe
thing
he
here
did
is,
have a legitimate reason to not go back.
Okay, the thing here is, though, we're treated to this story not because of the murders that happened a year ago, but because of the story that is woven,
Yeah.
posthumously to that family with the next occupants of the house. And I'm 100% of the belief that it is completely made up, and that maybe
Completely made up.
I'm calling 98% made up. I'm
Okay.
talking they have just taken a few little common occurrences and stretched them into something. I don't know if they believed it themselves and they were done lying about it enough, but I don't buy it. I think this story is completely fabricated. The original story of the family being murdered, that happens everywhere in the country all the time, and you don't hear about it. But this family comes up with this wild tale of what happened to them after they moved into that house, and it's a whole different ball game.
It's just crazy, that a family would only move into for a house for like 28 days, and they're out. They're done.
Right.
If you're all in,
That's why I'm saying they should have got a 30-day money-back guarantee on that fucking
I mean,
house.
I don't know. I'm with the king on this. I personally feel.
Fabrication.
Oh, it's total.
Right on.
The Lutzes are full of shit.
Yeah,
William Weber is full of shit.
absolutely.
The fucking Warrens are full of shit.
And their pockets are full of dollar bills, too.
Exactly. And here's the thing. I'm being from good old America. I'm a capitalist. If you can make money, you make money. All right.
Sure.
But I would say this, because you talked about this, King. This was the location of a horrific occurrence. All right, someone brutally murdered in cold blood their entire family. Okay, and I feel like you said it best. I mean, this is the story that's lost, and this is the actual story. Yeah. Everything that's focused on is the sensationalized, quote unquote, hauntings that this family that was the first ones that moved into this house after this tragedy. That's what we focus on.
Yeah, but you get Amityville too.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we do get Amityville too, and we're conflicted on that one in certain ways. Yeah, but no, but
The meat of the story, though, the original murders, I have a story for that comes from our local town, Parkersburg, West Virginia.
Oh yeah,
That happened in 1969.
Oh, wow.
We had a family of 13. It was over behind Southside Kmart.
Okay.
Their house burnt down. I'm just going to read some of the news article here because I brought this up
okay.
to share with you guys, because this is an example of what happens in every town. and maybe doesn't get, brought up to Hollywood status because something extraordinary didn't happen afterwards that someone actually witnessed or had happened. But
Okay.
here's the news article. Nothing could have prepared emergency responders in Parkersburg, West Virginia for the inferno they rolled up on 50 years ago. Charles and Ruby Bailey and 10 of their 13 children were entombed by a flash fire that consumed the interior of their tar paper rental house. The fire materialized at 1 a.m. on Sunday, June 8, 1969. Customers at Jimbo's, a local drive-in, reported the flames and rushed to help. But rescuers were driven back by the heat, even as a female inside made her final pleas for help. Most of the bodies were near windows and doors, but they couldn't make it out of the house. The juvenile victims included 5 girls and 5 boys. The youngest victim was only 6 months old. Years later, a cop who was among the first to arrive told the Parkersburg News and Sentinel the baby was fried. He added ruefully, everyone else was fried too. Suspicious by their absence from the home at the time of the blaze, police investigators took in 2 of the Bailey teenagers. The oldest Bailey sister had married and moved away, so she was not a suspect. During questioning, Roger Bailey states, "If you won't tell anyone, I'll tell you something about that fire." He explained that Sister Susie had enlisted him to help incinerate their kin after their father had forbidden Susie from dating her 19-year-old boyfriend, John Bumgardner, because he was her first cousin, and their father had threatened to have a warrant sworn out for his arrest.
Wow.
"I told Roger that I was going to set the house on fire after they all went to bed," Susie wrote. She and the brother siphoned gas from their father's truck into a dishpan, then quietly sloshed it around as their family slept.
Wow.
"I put gasoline into every room but the bathroom," she admitted. She touched off the inferno by tossing a flaming paper bag through a window. She and Roger then fled to a rendezvous with Bumgardner. The teen siblings were charged as adults with 12 counts of murder, and their confessions seemed to ensure conviction. But then all of that went up in smoke. Susie Bailey's court-appointed attorney filed a routine pre-trial challenge of her confession, arguing that police had illegally coaxed the admissions from the hungry, sleep-deprived teen who was said to have had mental capacity of a 10-year-old. A circuit court judge stunned criminal justice officials by agreeing with her attorney, and the state Supreme Court upheld the invalidation of the confession. It was the opinion of the court that she did not knowingly and intelligently waive her constitutional right to remain silent and to have advice from counsel. The Bailey teens were sent to foster homes, Roger in North Carolina, Susie in Ohio. The brother settled in, but the sister, renamed Laura Jean Boone, did not. She was boy crazy, a chronic truant, and a frequent runaway, including one trip for a meet-up with Bumgardner. In 1972, after a stint in the Ohio Psychiatric Hospital, she dropped out of sight for good after sending her brother a note saying that she had married and was moving to the Northeast. Back in West Virginia, the remains of her parents and 10 siblings rest in 6 shared coffins in a communal gravesite in Bethel Cemetery in Elizabeth. A marble marker notes that they died in a tragic fire. Actually, the fire was murder. The slapdash investigation was the real tragedy. When that happened here.
That would be a crazy movie.
Yeah, that's
You know?
wild.
You could really spin that into
Sure.
a crazy ass movie.
Well, and I kind of feel like that's what the Lutzes did here with this. I mean,
Right on.
I think they saw an opportunity. They went for it. They went bold.
I hear you.
Have you heard Ronald DeFeo's confession of
Which
saying
one?
that his sister committed some of the murders?
Yeah. I want to say which one. I mean, he's
I don't
got
buy that.
multiple.
I don't buy that shit.
Yeah.
That's the only one that seems, somewhat convincing out of the group, I suppose. But I mean, it's
it's an
nuts.
an awful tragedy, and again, like I said, I'm all for capitalism, and I guess if you're able to sleep with yourself at night,
Yeah.
and, make the
But
decisions
it's
that
wrong.
you did. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's really seedy. And I really, if I'm George Lutz, I don't know that I could follow through with that.
Right.
Because,
Capitalizing on murder
yeah,
is
yeah,
it's tough business to
Yeah.
get into
exactly.
morally.
Yeah, I just don't know that that's something I'd want to bear.
War profiteers. They've been doing it
Danny
for a long
Lutz
time,
recounts in the Amityville Horror. I don't know if you ever saw that documentary. He
No, I heard about
did.
that.
I mean, he just completely dissects his dad as a total jerk. Never, had any use for him. And, he was always out for himself. And I can see him being that abusive father and neglectful husband that just says, let's do this for the money, and tows her along with him to the grave.
But we did get a good movie out of this.
Absolutely.
So
something I want to ask you guys is, obviously this spawned off countless sequels and spinoffs, but I kind of want to just talk about the original sequels, which I guess would be just the second and third entries. What are your guys' takes on Amityville 2, The Possession from 1982, and Amityville 3D from 1983?
I kind of enjoy part 2. There's some aspects of it that got to me. I think everybody knows. Part. Yeah, the incest shit.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird. It made me a little unsettling. When I first watched it, I remember when it happened. I just kind of looked around.
Like, is this really happening?
Oh my god, what the fuck is going on?
We're doing this?
But no, I like that movie. It's not bad.
Okay.
Minus that. 3D is not that great, but
yeah,
I'm not a fan of it.
Okay.
What do you got, Kane?
3D is not worth discussing.
Not really.
Except for the cover art. That could have been one of my choices for top cover art of a movie that sucked so bad.
It has that kind of claw reaching out. Yeah, I hear you.
Three, fingered prong. That claw.
Yeah, I mean, what about 2?
It doesn't raise a needle for me
Burt as much as other people. Asshole dad in that movie.
Yeah,
he does that. Really he does his job. I don't think that's an effective retelling of the backstory as it's supposed to be.
Well, it made it supernatural instead of just.
Yeah, I get that. I realized they're going for the backstory, the prequel, if you will, and it didn't work for me.
Right. Okay.
I didn't buy him as the dad. I mean, Burt Young's a great actor, but not. He didn't convince me in that part.
Right on.
Wrong person for that part.
I mean, I have to agree with Ketchum here on this. I mean, yeah, it was still Uncle Paulie, but he was like dickhead Uncle Paulie, and it was convincing.
It's too little for me.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I feel that fits the bill, in my opinion, even more so, because he has that little man syndrome.
Yeah.
I like Amityville 2, The Possession, a lot. There's a lot of it gives me more, in my personal opinion. Amityville 3D, yeah, that's pretty much garbage. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, you get Robert Joy in there. You get a young Meg Ryan, and you also get Lori Loughlin.
Meg Ryan's in there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Meg Ryan.
Well, I've watched it maybe twice,
but outside of that, the movie
before it was done both times, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the movie it's pretty much a shitter.
I've seen every sequel, and there's nothing worth seeing after 2. If you give 2 as much credit as you're giving it.
Yeah.
I personally would say avoid part 2.
No, okay.
But
all right. Well, I mean, does this wrap up our review of the Amityville Horror from 1979? I mean, are we ready to go into the wrap-ups?
Sure.
Okay. Do you want to take this one first, or you want to take it last, buddy?
No, I'll get her done.
Do it.
Boys, I got her.
Do it to it. Let's hear it.
Can't wait to hear this one.
Hey, look, this movie holds a very special place in my heart, as I've made perfectly obvious.
Yeah,
sure.
If I haven't, I've tried. It's been
message received
with me from day 0. It's kind of a cheeky excuse and story, I'm sure,
No,
my deepest
man.
subconscious
No, it's legit.
memories.
No, it's legit. I dig it.
Okay, well. But that story resonates with me, and, as I heard my parents recall seeing it in the theater the night before I was born, something about that must have scared me, and made me think that what must have scared me straight out of the womb that night,
Quite possibly. You have a weird connection to this film.
Yeah, and my parents took me to the house when I was little, and that's a memory that's like, out of all my fuzzy memories, I hold on to that one really dear. Like, it's one of the early memories of childhood that I remember us standing in front of 112 Ocean Avenue, which I think they had changed the address of at that time.
Yeah.
Right.
To avoid people, but they hadn't changed the windows yet.
I was gonna say, though, did they change
They had
the windows?
not changed the
They're
windows yet.
rectangular now, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But at the time I visited it, they had a
quarter oval.
A wide window connecting the two.
Oh, I've seen. Okay. I know what you're talking
I have
about.
pictures of it. I'll post them, but that's the only difference, and it didn't make a difference to me. I just was like shocked. We were looking at the Amityville house.
You knew, yeah.
And I asked my dad. I was like, "Can we go in?" You know, and he's like, "No, we can't go in. People live in there." And I'm like,
"Can we knock on the door and
what?"
try?
You know, my first thing was,
why
people live in there?
Right.
Like you showed me that movie, and you're telling me right now that people live in there right now. Fuck that. You know, I was completely like shocked. You know, I didn't think as a little kid that we would be denied access to look at the house. I thought, you know, Dad was taking me to a tourist attraction, you know, because he had just taken me to Washington, D.C., and we went through all those buildings, and now we're at the Amityville house, and I'm like, let's go in. You know, I didn't know any better, but
nope.
Man, it was cool as shit to me.
That's awesome.
As a kid, so I got that experience, and then later in life, we went on a vacation and stopped at Tom's River, and I got to see the movie house, which wildly shocked me in difference because, you know, that barn roof is not on that house. It's got a typical triangle roof.
Yeah.
And what I found out after researching that was a facade just built on the house for the movie.
Yep.
They used that house the way it was and just built a facade on both sides and the roof to connect them, I guess.
Yeah.
So that it looked like a barn roof. And, yeah, that was kind of a letdown seeing it. Because I was expecting something completely different.
Yeah.
But
Movie
still,
magic.
really cool. And I got to see both that house and the real one. But the 1970 version, or 79 version of this movie resonates with me as the quintessential haunted house horror movie. Yeah, this is one of my all-time favorites. And it can't be remade to satisfy me further than this adaptation. It's perfect in every way to me, never commits me otherwise. And since it's been about 5 podcasts now since I've dropped a 10 rating on you, I'm ringing that dinner bell again.
God.
It's a 10 for the king. This movie is as near and dear to my heart as any movie ever made.
Okay.
All right.
Period.
All right.
Firm.
Firm.
It's as firm as it can be.
All right.
10 out of 10. Is it a more firm 10 out of 10 than what we get from Halloween or Christine?
You're asking me if I rank it higher than those two movies?
Yeah, more firm. More firm.
That's what I mean.
I'm going to tell you, my top 5 movies of all time are at a hard lock. I mean, I have a hard time exchanging one for the other in a placement of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But it's in that top 5. I promise you, this is in that top 5, if that helps any. And those two, yes, are in that top 5.
Okay. All right.
On another day, I may break that down a little better, but that's what you're getting today.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Fair enough.
All right.
All right. 10 out of 10 from the King for Amityville Horror.
Good God.
1979.
All right.
What you got, Lord?
Well, not a 10 out of 10. But I do enjoy this movie. When I first watched it, you know, it captivated me. I watched it, I think, it was one of those movies that I watched for like a month straight, you know, every day, probably twice a day, you know. You know, it captured that horror aspect for me. James Brolin, Margot Kidder, I thought they did very well in this movie. The chemistry was there for them. The scores is solid as shit. Like I said, I'm a sucker for the children choral singing and everything, you know. I really enjoy that.
10 out of 10 on the soundtrack for me, too, by that one.
I hear you.
Just that single.
There were a few things that just don't hold up, you know, nowadays. But I don't know. It doesn't really reduce much for me. It does a little bit, though. Not too much. Back in the day, I would have rated this movie at a 7.5. But right now, it's coming. I rate this at a 7. Okay, 7 out of 10. It's 100% rewatchable. I get, my kid's going to be watching this here soon. The one that's starting to get into horror and stuff. This is going to be one of those movies that slide in. I mean, minus the little bit of sex scene and everything. It's not that bad though.
It's a good jumping off point, I think. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. 7 out of 10.
I like that.
Okay. Well, the Amityville Horror from 1979 was written by Sander Stern, based upon his screenplay, and Jay Anson, based upon his book. It was directed by Stuart Rosenberg, who he directed Cool Hand Luke in 1967, went on to direct Brubaker in 1980, and The Pope of Greenwich Village in 1984. This is rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 57 minutes, and it was released on July 27th, 1979, on a modest estimated budget of $4.7 million, and it grossed $86.4 million worldwide. Massive success.
Out of the park.
Yep. This was an unexpected blockbuster hit, and it was in the top 10 highest grossing movies at the time, and it was one of the highest grossing independent films at the time, and it was also American International Pictures' biggest hit.
Shit.
But let me ask you this. Was either of you in the theater 2 weeks after its debut?
Nope.
For the very first movie you ever viewed in your entire existence?
Nope.
I was.
Can't say that.
I was.
I think you can.
The
way it's told.
It's an asterisk, but yeah.
It counts. Asterisks count.
I mean, they claim babies hear everything that goes on outside the womb.
Right.
And I'm sure this, was a traumatic experience the night before I come out of the womb.
For who?
Everyone involved.
Still to
Have you
this
seen
day.
my baby pictures? Built like a brick shit house.
Oh my gosh. But this is streaming on Amazon Prime, as well as a bunch of the sequels and spin-offs, as well as the 2005 remake. You can also buy it on Amazon for $2.99, and it's also on Hulu, as well as the remake. King?
The remake's not better.
We're gonna fight over my take on this movie.
However, the book did involve the backstory of Mr. John Ketchum a little bit more than what 1979 did.
It absolutely did.
You like that part of the new adaptation. I get that. I know where you're going, but carry on anyway. It's not better.
I've watched this twice in the past couple years, and before that time, it had been a really long while since I've seen this. But on these two most recent watches, my rating has gone downhill. It's shot very well. Yes.
Oh shit! You gotta stop watching this movie.
Well, good news. It's not going to drop any lower. Okay. I mean, this movie, it's shot very well and exciting, visually enticing angles and whatnot. You get an amazing, haunting score by Lalo Schifrin, and you get a pretty damn good cast ensemble.
Hell yeah, dude.
But the story is where this lacks, and it lacks big time for me. That and the fact that this movie, it's not scary. It's not scary. Okay? At least to me, it's not. There's just nothing there. It doesn't move the needle for me. It does a good job of building tension at times, mostly because of the score, in my opinion. But it never really delivers the goods at all. The brief cutaways of violence and gore, it doesn't cut it for me. Pig Beast Jody doesn't cut it for me. And the very anticlimactic ending doesn't work for me.
I hear you.
You get a big fat 0 for a body count, not including the depictions of the DeFeo murders in the beginning or the dream sequences.
Why are you not counting this?
Because those don't count.
The fuck you say?
I would say they count. No.
All right.
I mean, it happened in the
Absolute
movie. It's in the
bullshit
beginning.
for you to
That's
say
how
that.
the movie opens up.
Okay.
You are
Fucking murder.
way out of line
that's
on
pretty
this.
intense, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a body count to this movie. 100%.
Okay.
100%.
Thank you. If I stood alone on this, there would be
Hitchhikers.
There would be a fist
Let
fight
us know
at this point.
what's going on. Is there a body count to the Amityville Horror? Let us know.
Yeah, come up with something better than that.
But we're going to get an automatic half-a-star reduction for the cat jump scare.
Okay.
Boo to that.
You fucking cat jump scare hater.
Yeah, I am.
I know you are.
Yeah. But,
Weak.
anyways, most of the scenes that we get that are, they're of terror or peril, I mean, they're borderline comical, and to me, they really miss the mark. I mean, I understand what this movie represents, and I understand its significance in cinema, but this is just not a good haunted house movie.
What? For the period in time this came out, man. It really is. You got to take it for that, I guess it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't hold up over time.
I mean, to me, it's very pedestrian, and it doesn't hold up very well for my money's worth. And I mean, at best, this is a made-for-TV movie, which originally it was supposed to be for CBS, minus the nudity and the little bit of bad language that we get.
Yeah, but if you'd been alive when this movie came out,
yeah,
you telling me you wouldn't have been scared?
I mean, I saw it when I was younger, and I mean, yeah, it affected me, but it just it doesn't hold up.
I hear you.
As an adult, this movie to me, it's I don't know, it's bland, it's boring to me.
Interesting.
To me, the score and the presentation of the house itself are the scariest things in this. I mean, this came out at the right time. People, they wanted to believe in the sensationalism that this movie brought forth, and they clearly wanted to believe they wanted to be frightened by the internal battle of good and evil, God and Satan. But 5 little words, more than anything, sold this movie. Based upon a true story. Hook, line, and sinker. Audiences ate that shit up back in the day. I think more than today. At least to me, I don't know.
It just wasn't done very often back then.
Right, and to me, back then, those
when
words
you got it, it was like, oh shit, okay.
Right, to me, they meant more back then. I mean, I don't know. Is that just me, or is that my
I agree with that.
Rose-colored glasses view taking over there?
No, I agree with that 100%.
Okay.
Based upon a true story, people got
that was an impact. That was like, oh shit. It was like, dum, dum, dum. Yeah. But
this motherfucker.
He hasn't even said the rating yet.
I know.
He's shooting daggers.
I'm going to back away from the table when I say this rating because I don't want to get slapped in my mouth.
Hold on. I'm going
to tell you right now, when you asked me where this ranks in my top movies of all time, you just made me realize that this is my number 1 because I've never been more offended by what you're saying than what I am about this movie. And therefore, what you said about Halloween 2 or about Christine do not trump the feeling I feel right now about what you're saying about this movie. Therefore, making this my favorite movie of all time.
Another biased rating. Out of spite. Out of spite.
No. If it's my favorite movie of all time, it's a fucking golden ticket. There's no spite rating. There's no trumping that.
I would agree with you that this would be your favorite movie because of the connection of it.
It has a lot of
I can see why this would be
personal to me.
No, and I get that, and I respect
I understand that.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to say you're wrong for having a 10 out of 10 on this. Whereas you're going to tell me I'm wrong for having this as a 6 out of 10.
Oh, 6 out of 10.
I could have called that. I could have called that 10 minutes ago. I could have probably predicted that an hour ago.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
6 out of 10 isn't that bad, though.
Here's the thing. Like I said, I understand what this movie represents, but looking at this movie, it really is. It's boring to me. There's nothing that happens. It's a lot of building of tension, and there's no payoff. It just doesn't.
I feel you're in the minority.
I probably am, and I'm okay with that.
I'd say he's actually in the consensus. Just the average aspect of it all.
I get there's a lot of fans out there of Part 2 that like Part 2 better than Part 1, and I don't get that either. But
I'm kind of on a teeter-totter with that, though,
I'm
Dave.
in the same
really
place
am.
because I'll be honest with you. If you put a gun to my head, if I'm going to watch a movie that's more entertaining, that gives me what I'm looking for from a movie of the time, I'm probably going to pick Amityville 2: The Possession.
I would agree because, you actually get the murders that happen, and you get a really cool demonic transfer.
Yeah, you get
into
some
him
awesome
and stuff.
like,
Now,
bladder
obviously
effects
that's
and
not
everything.
the story, but
You're giving me the
Right.
giving me the juice. You're giving me
Yeah.
what I want. Kind
minus
of like
the incest shit.
yeah, that gets a little weird.
But other than that, man, I mean, I kind of like 2 better. I mean,
I
just
agree.
a smidge. It's like a 7.5.
I feel like I have
Unreal.
them both as a 6, but I feel like Amityville 2 is it's more of an appealing movie. It just, like I said, it just gives me
Right.
more of what I'm looking for. And I think, honestly, the tipping factor in that is it's the special effects.
Yeah. Dude, when hit that shit coming
Yeah.
out of his neck, and it's bulging up.
Yeah.
That's huge, man.
Dude, that's weird. It's
like,
freaky.
shit,
I
It's freaky as
literally
hell.
can't appreciate a damn thing either of you're saying right now.
really okay. Well,
can't.
yeah.
That's how strongly I'm against what you're saying. I
Fair.
don't like 2. I don't. 2 does not.
Well, it's hard when you
Work.
got a perfect movie on your hands.
Sure, you're right. You're damn right. You're trying to
in
compare
your
us to that to me?
views.
Sure,
so.
yeah, no, it is my views. In fact, I like it being personal. I like it being mine.
Yeah.
No, that's
I like
cool.
wrapping my arms around
Hey,
it and
man,
saying,
mine's
That's why
off.
we're in HP, man.
Yeah.
The Ketchum house is in this movie, and I've got some ties to it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's
Again, it's...
But you were
spelled
born
differently.
with this. I was born in it.
Again, listen.
When you throw that clip in here,
Yeah.
Get that.
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it.
Dave.
Yep.
Oh, I love it.
I get that's a cheeky take, but, I mean...
You
Somehow,
I
barely
respect it.
saw the movie.
It
I was
was-
born to it.
The first time I actually watched it in person, I probably was like, this seems familiar. I mean, it's that nostalgic to me. I mean,
It's
it's
like
so
deja
nostalgic.
vu.
It's so nostalgic that the first time I seen it, I was like,
I've seen
there's
this.
something familiar about all this. I don't like it.
He
And it's fucking
is
with
going
me.
to fall in a pit of black goo.
Oh, no, I don't know about all that.
I thought I was going to get all crazy.
Stretching here a little, but
Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
you get that sense of
It
deja
has-
vu. And,
if there is a movie out there that is the most nostalgic movie for me, this is it. I mean, there's none higher,
Right on.
Fair enough. All right.
and I've explained why.
Well, I'm glad we got to review this movie on the highway, man.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
awesome, dude.
Absolutely.
Hey.
I know my feelings aren't as
Go
quite as
visit-
high.
Go
as
visit
what
it
you
on the
guys-
highway.
Yeah.
They're
but-
out there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like this is one of those movies where there's a lot of ratings on this. I kind of feel like it's all over the place. I don't feel like it's necessarily in the consensus like, oh yeah, we love this movie. It's a classic. It's great. Or
It is
it's
a classic.
awful. I do view this as a classic.
I like The Exorcist better.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, without
Can't
doubt.
appreciate that, but
Wow, that is interesting.
Can't
I
appreciate
just
it?
fucking told you. When
I
this
know,
movie rates
I
for
know,
me.
I
And you
understand.
can't believe that?
I understand, but I think what the
Last
shock
month
is.
we had a post that commented our least favorite movie that everyone else loves, and I chose The Exorcist.
That is true.
Yeah,
this is
I
true.
forgot about that. Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
chalk that up as shocking as shit.
Yeah.
You might be the only one. I don't know. You're a fucking unicorn king.
I am a fucking unicorn.
All right, Hitchhikers, this concludes our review of the Amityville Horror from 1979. We hope you all enjoyed our unique and in-depth analysis of this horror classic.
I did.
You can find us on Facebook at Nostalgia Highway Podcasts and be on the lookout for new announcements and updates. And make sure you also visit the King Art Facebook page that is linked to the NHP page, where you can find a wide variety of incredible artwork from the King himself. You can also email the show at nostalgiahighwaypodcast@gmail.com, and our Twitter username is @highwaynhp. So there's all kinds of ways to reach us. So any input on older or newer episodes or any questions you may have, we would love to hear from you. Be sure to check out our next episode, episode 27, where we will review The Hidden, early 2000s horror thriller Jim, Frailty from 2001, directed and starring Bill Paxton, and also stars Matthew McConaughey and Powers Booth. That releases at midnight Tuesday, November 26th. And NHP fun fact, this was the movie that began mine and the King's infatuation of Hamm's beer. More to come on that on the 26th. You'll have to listen in on that to get the whole story. So on behalf of the Lord Ketchum and Dave King of the Road, I am your host, the Mayor Matt Logston, and we thank you once again for hitching a ride along with us, and we'll catch you next time out on the highway.
Did you say next week we're reviewing Jim?
He said the gym. Like a gym.
Because
like,
I love
of a movie.
Jim, and I know you did too, a little bit, and admittedly probably as me, but I mean,
Are you talking
Jim
about
from the 80s?
The glam
The
cartoon?
pink-haired rocker chick?
Yeah.
Dude,
I
solid writing.
like Jim.
And the holograms?
Jim and
Yes,
the holograms? Yeah.
solid writing. That was well done cartoon.
Oh my god.
Hey, man.
I'm with the king on this.
Jim
I've
was
seen every
solidly
episode.
I did watch it.
written
I did watch
and
it.
produced cartoon.
Yeah, I've seen every episode of Jim and the holograms.
Okay.
I can sing both versions of the.
You can sing them?
Oh, absolutely.
Do it.
I can't do it while
We're not doing it right now. This is an outtake.
I can do it, but not right now.
Well, I can do it
But
once
yeah.
we turn that mic off. Okay. But I can do it, damn it.
Yeah. Well, there it is. Me and the Lord got a Jim
Yeah.
crush, I guess.
A gym fetish. 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 Fetish.